We'll, we'll just laugh at you to the point of just complete hysteria.
But it's not perfect.
It's never personal.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so that's
So what we talk about is we'll start with call it consciousness, though no one really knows what that is, and it's kind of a lame duck, you know, like, oh, consciousness. So you can also notice that your experience, let's say, has a kind of a curious, you know, present, what would you call it, textural quality, right? Like, you know, you're alive, you're sentient, you're with it. This is the so-called present moment. You know, memories may be available, but this is the, right? This is where you're living right now. You could say that your entire life led you to this, right? Yeah. And there's a textural quality of being present, as in right here, which is irrefutable, right? Like, you don't have to believe anything or have a religious or whatever superstition about anything to be, whoa, this is awake. This is right. This is fucking awake. And it's for free. I mean, you're not doing anything. You're not efforting. You're not believing anything. You're not praying for anything, hoping for anything, having a story about anything. This is just, woo, right?
woo!
Yes. So we get distracted easily by all kinds of ideation and metaphors and stories, and superstitions and beliefs, and content flows through what we call my mind, right? As thought, as sensation, as sentiment. And so it appears as if by paying attention to all that curious and entertaining noise, that it's possible that there's something other than right here, like my past or the likelihood of my future. But what if there weren't? What if that were an absolute hypnotic suggestion that we never give a second thought about, and that all you ever have is this absolute irrefutable inebriation, about which you needn't have a belief, a superstition, a thought, a sentiment, anything. And then what happens to you, call it texturally or in the feeling zone of you, the contemplative zone of you, not by checking, you know, in this way or checking out this way, but just, oh, right, presence. Yeah. Then what happens to you when you notice and feel presence without a story, without being bound by time, without a destination, without even having a future? Like this, whatever it is, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not saying what it is truly always all you've ever got.
The present.
And it's like miraculous beyond imagination. But we blot out the startlement or the nourishment, the fantastic inebriation of presence, because we're fucking drunk with thinking. Drunk with storytelling and projection. Drunk with it. I mean, usually all day long, and for many, you know, during the night, either asleep or in deep sleep or whatever. We're always somehow strangely drunk with self. And this self is imagined in mind, because you can't find it anywhere else but in mind, in the movement of metaphoric association, which you feel as my story, my thought, my sentiment, my appointments, my likes, my dislikes, the times I've been wounded, the times I've wounded others, my forgiveness, my surrender. So we are living, most of us, in a virtual reality, not an actuality, made out of ideas. And for some, that becomes unsatisfactory, exhausting. We become bored, restless with ourselves. We grow tired of the inebriation of me, I, self, because we're malnourished by hysteria. And yet, actuality, again, I'm not saying what it is or why it is, because I don't know, but actuality, can I say enjoyed, right? Felt. Free from the implication of mind is a whole, I would argue, kind of new universe, right at your fingertips, right at the tip of your nose. And that, the intensity of that, the authenticity of that, the reality of that, completely flatlines past lives, spirit guides, all religion, all politics, all social agreement, all belief and all superstition contrived by humans to imagine that they're living in a secular world that existed prior to their conception. Right? Like, you're probably the product of the Big Bang that happened some 14 billion years ago. And then you were conceived or born and you're like, wow, what is this fucking place? And someone said, well, this is welcome to Earth. And your name is Jen. Okay, but where am I? Right? So we imagine, without even thinking about it, that experience is you as a creature, as an individual, existing on the surface of a planet, you know, somewhere in around a, you know, kind of a local sun, midway, you know, out the rings in the Milky Way, that was all began with, you know, something the physicists are telling us was the Big Bang, prior to which there was what exactly? So you think you're a creature. You think you're bound by or navigating time and navigating space from place to place for, you know, food, lovemaking, entertainment, bowling, right? And a quiet place to poop. And you do this, you know, pretty much your entire life. You think, oh yeah, I'm on a planet and I drive around or I fly around or I take my scooter or I hover or I walk with my sneakers. And all of this shit is dreamed. This is way stranger than whatever spiritual group you may have encountered up to this point, or what you thought you might have been leaning into.
I'm scared about your
Floyd.
You never.
This is the division. You guys looking at each other, and there's little kangaroos right here in the eye circle, because this was from Australian Pink Floyd. The kangaroos they're okay?
Yeah, that might be the second time you ever wore it.
Yeah. It smells pretty fresh though, yeah.
Excuses.
What we do here is dismantle the warp and woof of conformist reality that tries to convince you that you're existent, that you're individual, and that the shit that you think and feel makes a difference to someone, anyone, and it doesn't. Are appearing spontaneously and improvisationally without will, without decision. You're appearing at the fantastic whim of the divine, which turns out to be yourself. And the harmonics that you think you're functioning under are bullshit and lies.
Total lies. Is this what Norley said?
Yes,
He sure does.
He's
he's being nice.
You see, if you want spirituality or succor or an adventure or an enlightenment or awakening,
Mercy.
nourishment, yeah, care,
Comfort.
yeah.
Nice.
See, anything that you might be looking for, you're looking for through what? The lens of an individual, through the lens of a body, through the lens of a personal experience. Something pisses you off, something angers you, something frightens you, something makes you irritable, something makes you think, oh, there must be more than me. There must be more than what everyone has told me this is about. So you're inspired, right? And look at all of that. Look at the inspiration for more. Look at what frightens you, intimidates you, antagonizes you, makes you suffer, makes you want to, let's say, be free, right? When you start looking at it, you're like, whoa, it's completely impersonal. You are arising spontaneously in yourself. And then you come back and say, oh, I thought, I felt, I decided, I chose, I will do this and that. But you're still, even as you're saying that, you're still arising spontaneously, impersonally, and improvisationally in yourself. And you're familiar to yourself because we are conditioned. So we are kind of repetitive. Try to wake up tomorrow morning as your friend or switch with someone else in the room, right? You have free will. Of course you have free will. Tomorrow you wake up as Pat. Not yourself, someone else. It doesn't have to be Pat. It could be anyone. It could be Pink Floyd. You can wake up as all 5 members or however many there were. If you really have, go ahead, exercise it. What are you going to do? Stop being yourself. Enlighten instantaneously. You have free will. Exercise it. Find a better parking spot than the one that you have. what's not imagined? Right? If I ask you how you got here, what do you have to do? You have to hard seek memory, right? And then recall the so-called events that say, oh yeah, well, we made an appointment, we met at, maybe we had a slice of pizza, I knew where my car keys were, I was bathed, I had clothes on, I can leave the house. I got in my automobile, I figured out the route, I came to this, parking lot full of stones and to a fucking spiritual group. Because the meditation people, really, they were too boring for me.
No, I did not say that. They really were.
No, they're not, they're
They are
boring.
very-
They're boring. Get jiggy with it, they're boring.
They are friends.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, they're boring friends.
Yeah, they're our friends. Well, they're our friends. I'm not their friend. Yeah, so you see the difference between being here. This is irrefutable, right? You don't have to give us a second thought. Like, boom, hello, aware, right? Attention, alive, available. Wow, wow. But you see, we drown out the wow because then we go to memory. And we report to ourselves on how we're feeling, how we're thinking, how we're thinking, how we're feeling, what's happening, what's not happening, what am I getting out of this? Have I come to the right place? Is it now time to leave? When do you guys go on break? You know what I mean? You can see if I press you or if we press each other in a friendly manner, not in anything but a friendly manner, you can see how strange your consciousness is arising as in right here and right now. If I don't press you, then all we do is daydream together and we never get really that close. You fucking daydream, I fucking daydream. We say, how about the weather? How about the Mets? Golden State, right? But if we don't daydream and we're like, whoa, what the fuck is this? That's a different relationship. Not just with each other, but really with oneself. Because the fact is, you don't know and nobody knows what this is. How it came about, why it came about, where it is, when it is, where it's going, what the purpose is, what the means and the method for you to be other than yourself right now will be. You don't know nothing. Neither do we. Nothing. And you have to get accustomed to not knowing nothing. Because as long as you think you know something and then you go in search of some kind of spiritual iteration, you're just going to find yourself in some other kind of miserable condition with a bunch more knowledge. And that's going to suck. So you might as well put an end to it like, how about now? You can put an end to it right now.
To not be spiritual?
What does spiritual mean? And as contrasted with what?
Not spiritual.
But see, right? To be spiritual is a set of ideas and metaphors arising in your particular experience. Like for you, spiritual might be just about to turn the corner on the past life thing, right? Or it could be, I might be open to having a spirit guide or perhaps even channeling someday, right? And that's cool. That would be spiritual for you. So spiritual for me would be, you gotta be fucking kidding me, right? That would be spiritual for me. But for you it would be like, who is that crazy motherfucker? He's laughing at me because I'm, right? So spiritual is really strange. When Jeffrey Dahmer went to the mall and attracted somebody home and then killed them and then put their body parts in his freezer, he had a spiritual epiphany. So what is spiritual as contrasted with what? Non-spiritual. See, you don't know. If you create a contrast between one thing and another, what are you relying on to create that contrast? Your imagination, presumption, accusation, preference, ideology. And as long as you live in ideology that one thing could possibly be other than another thing, well, then so are you. Then you condemn yourself to being individuated as an object, being apart from the grandiosity of the whole, and then you'll be seeking and seeking and seeking until you come back around as Cleopatra. I mean, we're putting an end to it now. That's the game. That's what we do here. We put an end to it now. Well, what do we put an end to? Anything and everything you think is true. How's that?
It's not what I need right now.
Welcome to leave. I hear you. This is steep. This is, it's not about,
I know, but like I've had a rough day and I feel like I'm getting like It's a little too harsh for me right now.
This is a lot of love here, but it's bigger than what one might come to if one is in search of comfort or care or being safe in the midst of other people. This is a crusher. That's what it is. And that's what we do. We crush it. And there's a tremendous amount of affection in it, but it doesn't mean that everyone is ready for that affection. Thanks for being honest. Maybe it's time for that break.
Yeah, just had a really bad day. I know you're not meaning to be harsh, and I just thought it'd be more like, chill, and it's just not what I needed.
It can be, but tonight for some reason it wasn't. Yeah, it can be very chill, but it became this.
In a minute. Feel free to just stay. If you want.
Oh, well.
Could have been a lot of caffeine.
I don't have any caffeine.
What are you drinking?
Give your kind friend a rest. What's on your mind?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Give
know.
this gal a massage.
Have you been doing meditations or anything like that? Do you have practices or anything? Or,
Me?
yeah, I mean, are you just looking into it or what's your status?
Yeah, I guess I'm starting to look into meditation. Yeah.
Coming from a particular spiritual vantage point, are you?
I grew up with no religion in my life. Actually, really, barely at all.
Did you miss it?
I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not atheist necessarily, just
No.
just nothing.
Just situations in life arose and wasn't something that was there in my life,
So did you become curious in this?
Yeah, I guess so. I've always driven by this church and I've always looked at it.
Felt a chill on your spine.
I wouldn't say
This
that,
doesn't-
but
This does not represent the church. You have to understand.
I always kind of came by and just, I don't know, I was always curious as to
What the church is about is not this. They're about spiritual stuff. Kind of. Like angel washing and new paradigms. The New Hope Metaphysical once a month, and they do channeling and spiritual readings and stuff like that. Yeah, for some it's very nourishing.
I would say this is something along the lines about constantly seeing a question in your experience and, feeling like paying attention to the wonder part and wonder for all of it. We don't know what's going on here. And how much do you know about what is actually going on here in our lives?
I think a lot of times, it's, people go through a whole lifetime of experiencing this spiritual idea or another, one or the other, a variety. You go through Buddhism, or you go through Catholicism, whatever, Mormonism, you get into Eastern religions, you do that, you do meditation, and all that's good. And it all seems like one step more and more, maybe kind of liberating. It's a new idea, an opening. But I don't know, just speaking for myself, it doesn't feel like I've necessarily made a lot of headway on going down that road. It's still the same old me. I still get into the same snits that I ever did, you know. So I think this is a totally different approach because it's not really an approach, really. It just sort of drops all that. And as you drop all that, there's just this automatic, whatever, lightness, freedom that comes from that, because that's really an encumbrance that you carry around, you know, all these beliefs and ideas. It's all relative stuff, you know. So it's a little bit of that.
So basically, there's no free will. None of us have any free will. Everything's just the way it is, and we just have to go on and live it. Like, is that what you? Well, I know he was talking about free will a bit. You know, I heard him mentioning that. You know, and so if there's no free will, then why do we do what we do? Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, why?
Isn't it plausible that we do what we do? You could say because we do what we do, and it doesn't require what we think is an individualized motive or the presence of free will to make a decision. I mean, why does corn grow the way it grows, or why does psilocybin find its way into, you know, humans, or why does marijuana smell so good? You know what I mean? Why does the sun shine? Right?
Are you recording this?
Yes,
No, I didn't know that when I came in. I'm gonna go.
you should go.
Yeah.
We
can stay.
There's a lot on the internet.
No, I'm
Sure. There's a lot of
No,
recordings on the internet. You can check it out, and then there's.
Yeah, I didn't know
there's
this
a
was
lot
being
on-
recorded.
Oh, sorry. And he also writes a lot. There's a Facebook page you can read and see
This
some
doesn't-
things there.
No, this is for anyone.
No.
Thanks for coming. Sorry it didn't work out this time.
Try it again.
Why do people try to convince people? You know what I mean? It's like, just like, if
Yeah.
it's not for you, just
No.
drop it. Just go. You know, I mean, why patronize? It's worse. It's just this weird and awkward. It's sort of a strange
okay,
habit that we do. It's like, just stop.
Right.
We're creatures of habit.
Just fucking
Yeah,
stop.
that's true.
It's not a big deal.
It's today, Thursday. Is Dave next door tonight?
Well, he was. I saw him leaving because he said he hadn't
We
eaten.
might be holding that.
You might want to try next door if you're into it. I mean, that's quiet.
He's right back on it again. She already did, shouldn't they?
They're gone. They left me.
I'm sorry?
They were leaving.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was running out and running back.
Anyway, Dave's real nice, and sometimes he's here also, the fellow Dave. Okay. Nice to meet you, Al.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You're picking one. That doesn't.
It's good to mention that it's being recorded.
I do
I
sometimes.
mean, obviously, but, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't noticed. I guess.
Well, that just happened. I'm gonna take advantage of these things. It's gonna get recorded.
Jesus, what do we do now?
No, that was exciting.
I was having fun. Sorry it was at their expense.
I was enjoying it.
Yeah, but you know, I know that there's a lot of people, I mean, they're actually so sensitive to things just like, you know, just the sheer initiative, you know, that comes forth. They're like kind of overwhelmed. You know, that's my impression when it's,
When
They don't know how
you're
to
trying to do away with someone's identity,
yeah,
it's not a small matter. It's a
Especially
big
if that's
deal.
not even, you had no idea that's what you're here for.
I would say though, it could have been anything being said. Just the tone and the,
Emphaticness?
yeah, it's just like, whoa, you know.
This emergency surgery was needed.
Already had a
I guess
lot of
I've
people
known,
here.
you know, I think of my wife and other people, and I know how it hits them.
Like kind of like those therapy groups of the 60s or the 70s.
Yeah,
Encounter groups or something.
Kind of.
This is worse.
Wasn't ready for encounter.
At least those, you know, you could be like intimidated and offended.
I think that got the back for it.
Okay. No, this is completely surgical.
Hmm.
Well, we may as well meditate, I guess. There's nothing else to say. Too bad I'm not Ramana Maharshi. Everyone would
And your
love me.
shirt is scary.
It is scary, right? The perfect storm.
Hope she doesn't have a rifle in her car.
You don't know if that's one person or two.
That's the idea.
It's like the first time anyone's seen the Pink Floyd.
No, what's a different generation?
What happened?
Any questions?
She wanted hugs.
Hmm?
She wanted hugs.
Yeah, no, this was definitely the place not to be.
You know, well, I think it might have been just what she needed. So, call me a bitch.
Obviously. If it happened, I guess.
Oh,
Yep. She'll
Fighting
thank you
Keith's
later.
gonna argue with what is.
Mhm,
Next
right,
lifetime.
Exactly. Mhm.
Geez, Andy would have never done that.
That's true. That is true.
No, she would have just been like, sure, $50 for 20 minutes. I'll give you hugs and I fuck you and maybe I'll even throw in a sweet tart or two. And then we'll dance in pink together. Sorry.
Did anyone else have a bad day?
No.
No, not me. No. Great day. It was terrific. Best day ever, as a matter of fact.
Day? What day?
What day? I'm kind of afraid to share.
I wonder where she found it.
I don't know.
It was just here for them.
I think so. And he might have said, well, you know, I think he was on his way out because they said that. And he said, well, you should
They
try that.
probably said them.
That asshole.
I think he
Carson
did.
Yep.
It's supposed to be the other way around. We recruit the loser weirdos over to his group.
Dave sent him here. It's good. It's not my fault.
We have
You
done
know,
the same to him.
this is not a group that's going to appeal to a lot of young spiritual seeking folks that are, you know, talking about past lives and or past lives and angels and stuff. You know.
But just at a level of assumption, though, you know, like, oh, is this the spiritual group?
So therefore, it must have past lives and
Yeah,
things and
because
stuff.
that's what you always find. I mean, seems, right?
Where is it even called a spirituality group? Where did she get that idea from? Is what I'm wondering.
Well, it's
Probably Dave.
It's Pebble Hill property and stuff, you know, it's
Oh.
not gonna be. It's not gonna be double racial.
Well, it isn't
Spiritual.
Nothing
too.
wrong with double
not
worship.
therapy.
Yeah, right.
There's a difference.
It's not therapy?
Well, I'm thinking of Jeannie's Inn because somebody mentioned it.
Oh.
Like where that was like it was therapy in the back row, you know?
Hmm.
And it's not therapy.
Yeah.
But some people think so.
Yes.
Spiritual
It is kind of
activities are
carnivorous also
confused with
to have
therapy.
two people walk in, spiritual, and then sort of this giant dragon comes at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all on you.
It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex thing. That's right. Picking off a couple of vegetable eaters.
I think we'll have to do a Barney poem, only it's Jeff. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So I love you. How's that thing
All
go?
right, let's end in a circle.
Please
with our
don't.
hands up.
I'm trying to remember how it goes.
I remember.
I love you.
Oh.
You it's gonna be different though.
Unless it takes to say, please don't do it.
We knew that's what you really wanted to hear.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
Here we go again. I'm stuck with another one.
It's really strange to start to get a sense, a palpable sense of that mind and thought and imagination and the storytelling that we do is hypnotic. And as hypnotic as being presently appearing is unreal, or by virtue of what it's trying to convince us of, does not convey an occupiable reality. But thought likes to convince itself that it is creating and projecting an occupiable reality.
This is a good tone right here.
The other time was
Open the window. Come back.
I am gonna open the window.
I think
Come back.
it was this exciting tone. It just gets confused. I have
It
the
does.
same problem. People think I'm being aggressive, and I'm like, no, I was just having a really good time. I'm not. No. I thought it was a love fest. What happened?
Sorry. Interrupting as well.
Yeah, you should just whip him later for his bad behavior.
That was really nice advice.
That's what I'm here for.
Wow, this
I imagine. No,
Prior-
because I want to make sure that everyone knows I've never actually done that.
earlier today I had a bad day, but things are looking up.
Oh.
Okay.
As you start to get a sense, and it organically or naturally reinforces that you see how you are arising improvisationally, presently, then a certain kind of healthy mistrust occurs. Of what it is that you're telling yourself, or daydreaming about, or conjuring. We do so much bracing in relationship to what it is that we're conjuring. And by imagining that there's, a spiritual life worth having or finding or living or cultivating, then we remain in that loop of imagination, of bracing, of anticipation, of time. Not seeing that it's really absolutely just arising presently, improvisationally. And we don't want to let go. We don't want to feel what this might feel like if we withdraw from, right, insistence on self
It's
or continuity.
annihilation.
Yes,
So it can be slightly uncomfortable
a little
if you're
uncomfortable.
still present when it's coming at you,
That's right.
right?
Well, like our dear friends earlier today, this evening. Yeah. It's not like discovering how this is actually appearing is so difficult to do. With a little bit of verve, right? Minimal IQ, pinch of interest. You can actually, wow, I am appearing improvisationally. There is, though there's memory, there's no palpable connection to it. Maybe if you've lost a limb by accident or by defending our great country someplace else, then you have a strong reason to notice that there must have been a past because I'm missing a limb. Yeah.
But even that has the story of I was a fully limbed person.
You can go pretty deep with it. Yeah, you can. Right.
It's hard to give all that up. It's hard to, I mean, there's just this, I feel an inertia. I feel like I just keep rolling back into this notion that some other tidbit, some further education will be of some help.
In the vacuum of self, this, right, uninvited notion occurs that looks like some kind of attraction or aversion vector that's interested in what might be discarded or accumulated for some kind of utility, which comes down to a utility felt by me. When we look to the future or make plans or whatever it is we're doing in the ruminating factory, are we projecting like what I will know, what I will discover, what I will feel, what I will acquire, what I will get rid of, right? You see, we create all kinds of really, I would say, subtle projection appetites on what it is we will have or find or benefit from by imagining in the way that we imagine. I'll be relieved when I get my taxes done. I'm going to go out for steak when I get my refund. Right?
Oh, God.
I'll feel better when someone that I love arrives safely someplace.
When Bernie gets into the Oval Office.
I will finally be vindicated when Bernie Sanders becomes president of the United States.
At the same time, though, none of that is. Yeah, I think I'm some shit.
I'm with you. I'm with you, sister.
Backtracking there.
That's not anything unusual. Because, I mean, you always, it's true that your attention goes to something. You know?
That's what attention is. It's not that's what attention does. That's what attention is.
Seeking missile?
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
But-
attention is, you could say gloriously or repugnantly full of itself, and it can't do anything but appear to find objects other than itself.
So how is it that
That's why you have a bad day.
how is it that noticing is like, is that sort of the subtlest way of still being attached, but in a subtle way? When you notice it, but sort of you notice the subtleties or whatever. I'm not expressing myself.
There's an arc of, let's call it contemplative discovery, contemplative practice that opens to, right, new windows, doors, holes in the floor of some kind of discovery. That's why the Hindus and the Buddhists and everyone else, do a thing. That's why the nuns that we went to see in, Berkeley were cloistered in a beautiful place that stared out into the San Francisco Bay with a view of the Golden Gate Bridge on a property that had redwoods. They were like praying, doing stuff. They had cool habits, and you could only could see their, maybe if you were lucky, just see their eyes, through the slits in their thing. And the priest that was doing the mass was, he had beautiful clothes on and some old sneakers.
Was he having sex with a boy on stage or was he behind?
No, I didn't notice that time. I should go back. So noticing, traveling lighter, jhana practice, yogic exploration. Peter Brown likes to emphasize, and I think it's worth repeating, that no matter where you go, no matter what you see, no matter what you feel, no matter what you look at, no matter what you consider, all it does is open. It just opens. You don't ever get to a place because there is no place.
That's just
You're just rushing
Constant
into
open.
hypnotic open. I mean, here it is, rushing into, or traveling quietly and slowly and non-intimidatingly into open.
I like the talking heads thing. It's very simple. Stop making sense. And what's the other one?
I don't remember.
I don't know. See, once you start with stop making sense, you can never remember the other one.
Same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
Very simple.
Stop making sense?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
That's the album name.
Yes.
Album.
Oh, it's the Talking Heads.
It does
Yes.
seem though that you can do whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, with a texture that feels personal and small, and one that feels impersonal and boundless. So then what ends up happening in my story is that there's a difference. This is this and this is this, so they must be different.
Yeah,
So,
right.
but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, it might not be.
Trying to make sense.
This opens. That's why perhaps Adam Chaxfield uses the phrase falling open. Because all this does is open. Now, isn't it curious that we think in terms of destination, whether it's a place to get to, or a task to fulfill, or a relationship to consummate, or a meal to eat, right? We're always thinking of where I'm going next, why I might be going, what I hope to attain by getting there successfully, right? So our typical consciousness is always destination driven, and being destination driven, it's always other and elsewhere than here.
It's like that you're on a fast forward loop on your tapes.
And that would change the quality
Fast forward.
of the experience. Right
Yes.
there, because
Yes.
you can be doing the identical thing, but if you're not
Right.
focused on destination,
Yes.
Future driven.
Well, that's the game. That's why there's a thing, if it were a thing, referred to as self-realization, liberation, noticing, I don't fucking know, falling open, call it what you will. because there is apparently a textural reflection that appears to be some kind of a contrast or a shift in one's fundamental embedded consciousness from the habit of daydreaming all the way to the grave. And this other bizarre thing that's referred to however it's referred, which is, I don't really know. I mean, the absence of self, right? The annihilation of self, the annihilation of the boundaries, apparent boundaries of time, of space, of advantage
Well, it
seeking.
annihilates the entire world.
It could.
I
Why
mean,
not?
That's the entire context of.
Yeah. I mean, you look into Ramana Maharshi's eyes, it's like, that guy annihilated the world. Or whoever's eyes that you're fond of. But it's a little strange, this, invitation for the annihilation of the world, which might include, probably does include, the annihilation of oneself as the insistence on corporeal individuation and continuity or constancy, which is only imagined. Where's those
there's a
spirit guides when you need
destination that infers a being. If there's a destination, someone
Yes.
has to be
Yeah.
going that way.
That's right. You see, that's why, the miraculous appearance of a sense of self, of a sense of individuation that you never actually signed up for, is accompanied by this curious, right, flow of destination, of time, of outcome, of consequence, planning, will, choice, having a bad day, running into a spiritual group that brings you to tears.
I think we should pull this broadcast after him get home and not broadcast the earlier part. If they didn't know that they were being broadcast and recorded,
No one knows who they are, but
they just think
sure.
it's probably illegal.
Yeah. Well, it's not that
And
obvious.
rude.
Okay, thanks. She said, whip me at home. What don't you
Afterwards,
get
yeah.
about whip me at home afterwards?
I'm stuck. I'm not lighting something.
It's not that I don't enjoy the whipping. I happen to really enjoy it, but in front of others, I mean, no, it's even more fun when you do it in front of others.
Continue my life.
She
Stay
doesn't
there.
forget.
Leader.
So
Yes.
then you can do whatever it is and be
Well, it's not quite like
not
that.
even concerned with what comes next because there is no destination.
Yes. But see, the difficulty is that, oh God, I mean, it's partly language, right? Language and kind of insists that we say, so then, if such and such were to occur to who you take yourself to be, then you could live in this way and be free of the implications of what we're referring to as destination. And you're like, no. You know what I
Well,
mean?
you My weakness is to try to express. That's my weakness.
Well,
There you have
There's weakness.
There you have it.
all right. You've bared your soul
It's
to us.
Showing up again.
Okay. I promise not to broadcast this now that you've
Oh, no.
completely bared your soul and
No.
shared with us your weakness.
Okay.
How would it be your weakness?
That's why I write poetry. I'm trying to get to
Ground
underneath,
zero.
as far down as I can. That's what I try to do.
Yeah.
And you don't feel that.
Smell the radon.
I think that's bullshit. I think
Try to
it's
express
bullshit.
it
It's
all.
just more bullshit. It's just
Yeah,
kind
but
of fine bullshit.
It can appear that you're in conflict with yourself while you're doing what you deem to
Yeah,
be
right.
seeably
Sure.
as bullshit. But it's not actually in conflict. That's the
It's
kind
like
of
you're
weird.
just
It's like
watching
you're
yourself con
doing
yourself.
a lot of bullshit. And you're like, oh, here I go again. I'm doing a lot of bullshit. I don't.
There I go again.
Here I go.
This being ongoingly improvisational, you can notice that it's fond of accusing itself of everything and anything,
Yeah.
none of which is binding, but evokes more improvisation, more sensation, more feeling tone. Like a thing that's true, or a thing that's untrue, or a thing that I should be bound by, or a thing that I'll be free of someday, like maybe right now. You see, it's so weird. You're never gonna survive getting out from under it, because it's not real in the first place, and neither is a sense that you have of being either suffering from it, participating it, or somehow transcending it. There's nothing to transcend. There's just this, oh my God, unbearable, unbeatable,
But see, that doesn't
improvisational
require-
expression.
That is the
Unbeatable.
expression. It doesn't require expression. There's a big difference.
Well, but there's nothing wrong with being Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo or Charles Ladany or Pat.
I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, you love poetry because you love poetry, and shit, I know a few people that love what you write too. So don't be a dumb fuck and stop writing.
Oh, I might.
Uh-oh, you're threatening us now.
No threatening.
Don't threaten us with this by stopping to write poetry. We can't handle it. I'll have a bad day if you do that.
You can have all the four of them. I'm keeping it.
This is so weird. I mean, when you go to a thing like a spiritual group or a meditating group, there's a context, there's a reason to be there, so you think. And people are participating because meditation is good for you, it's healthy for you, it lays the groundwork for, insight or even enlightenment. Right? You're always in a trajectory, you're always in a vector, you're always in a destination, you're always being completely overcome by the appearance of boundary fields that place you in some kind of justifiable context. That's why you have a bad day. Because you think this is something. I think this is something. I think I am something. I think what I'm experiencing defines, me or my right or privilege or opportunity to, let's say, enjoy my life. So this incredible sense of individuation, disparate existence, existential panic, and planning and hysteria and anecdotal reference and having a bad day is like, woo! You're not going to beat that. You can't run faster than that. No way, no how.
It's possible to suffer and yet not be, trying to avoid it. And I further, in my bullshit mind,
Yours is not the only one here.
that we are going to be gifted with that
Yeah.
when we get old and decrepit.
Old and decrepit sounds
And-
nice.
We'll have to come
That's coming.
face to face with suffering is doesn't really have it's just another another way to be. It's not special. It's
It doesn't have a
just
value judgment attached to it.
yeah, it's like just
Well, it's interesting.
this or it's this and whatever.
Good, bad.
Okay. I mean, all one can really say for fun is yes or no,
Right.
and offer, and I see you, I call you, I raise you. It doesn't make anything that we share, particularly true or binding. It's like, that was fantastic. That's not true.
See? I
Yeah.
still have those machinations.
Well, why not? I mean, this does. It's not like you're choosing to have anything.
Yeah.
It's floating around there. To it. I mean,
Are you choosing what to feel next, what to think next, what appears in your imagination next, the words that you might use to speak it out
if I
loud?
could choose it, I wouldn't
Are
have
you?
all these memes running through my brain all the time.
You're not choosing. You're not choosing or selecting or defining or deciding on what appears in you as you next, or what comes or what flowers in your imagination as a thing to feel and a thing to say, as a thing that might be true or a thing that might be untrue.
Well, there's this feeling that I can try to make a list and keep to it, and there's still this belief that if I just make the list and try to keep to it, but I tell you what, I
Well,
am like,
Actually, there's the belief of that belief.
oh well,
Because what you rendered, so poetically and theatrically is just not true. But you believed in an idea that was true was rendered as a list, and I think and I feel, which is the present belief.
Mm.
You see, you're borrowing shit that never happened, that was never true, as evidence for what you think or imagine you're believing now. And then that becomes, conveniently or inconveniently binding
Well,
for as long as it seems to last.
Which is why
Yeah, I mean,
you
there's-
go under. It's just more bullshit.
I don't disagree.
It is. It is.
but it's the noticing. It's the noticing of the pattern. You know?
No, see, that's another belief. You see?
Right. That's what I was getting to before about
I know.
noticing. And noticing is probably one of the more subtle things.
No, noticing's bullshit. Noticing's an idea. Noticing's not true. It's not worth doing.
You didn't say that before.
Huh?
You weren't saying that before.
I changed. But you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
When I say noticing, that's a thing, that I'm doing it is a thing. I'm the one that's doing it. It has a certain outcome. It might be advantageous. It might be more subtle, more nuanced. And all of that is just, right? Incredible flow of belief, association, and metaphor about a thing as a thing appearing improvisationally presently. But it's nothing. It's just nothing. And that's what's so like, oh my God. I mean, it's a little intimidating, if not a lot intimidating, as you start to see that, oh, Jesus fuck, I am actually appearing improvisationally, impersonally, without will, without definition, without context, without content, like the fucking Borg, without will. I mean, you could hyperventilate. You could run out.
Be scared.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you gotta somehow this, you say, gifts you with the capacity to buckle in, double down, and take it. So that you can pass through the transmutation, right? Of the myth of yourself. Oh my God. And you don't know what's on the other side.
It feels very rocky.
Okay. Well, Sparky, Rocky,
If
they run.
what appears, as it appears, whatever you're facing, the fear or whatever, and you look at it and you say that's not real, and then you look at whatever comes up next and you say that's not real. Like that's how you buckle in.
That's one way. Neti is a term used
Yeah.
for not this, not this, not this, not this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about as useful as going this. You know what I mean? Refusal or friendly accommodation doesn't amount to anything, because it doesn't stop the ongoing impersonal rush of you appearing and having ideas that you think are about something. That then frame what you think your experience is or should be. Holy fuck, this is dangerous.
I didn't get it.
Okay, neither did I. That makes two of us.
That's the thing.
Okay.
See, I mean, your insight that goes underneath and sees bullshit is, I would say, a contemporary vernacular for neti.
I got that part, but
Yeah.
when you said the this,
It's the same. But it's the same. Here's whatever this is, doing whatever it appears to be doing, right? Toying with everyone in the room the way that it does. And saying this is no different than saying not this.
So why stake a claim, right? I mean,
Well, that's the problem with neti.
Yeah.
Or anything for that matter.
Yeah.
If you refuse or you admire, if you accept or you reject, all of what's appearing as you having an opinion about whatever you think is happening is appearing improvisationally and disappearing in the same nano moment that it never existed in the first place. Because there is no moment. This is not actually occupiable. It's just not occupiable. It's just transient. It's really a transient wonder field. If it's euphoric, that's a win. If you're scared by it, come back next week.
if you're lucky.
If you're lucky. Yeah.
I just get this feeling of, being in this torrent, going through and, grabbing a handhold somewhere.
That's right. Yeah, that was in that last last Tom Cruise movie where he was floating around in that thing in Mission Impossible
Oh,
because they turned the pumps back on and he had to grab a hold of something so he could put the thing in the thing.
I missed that one.
You know, yeah, but that was a cool image. I mean, yours was better, I think. His was theatrical. Yours was like, wow. So what is attention? Well, we don't really know. What is sentience? I'm sorry, can't help you. And yet, what this is doing, if it's doing it, appearing in the way that it's appearing, which gives us the strange capacity to use, in this case, the English language, which is kind of a staccato set of nonsense, to somehow conjure or refer or raise awareness or attention or imagination on what this might be or not be doing. Nobody knows. Nothing's real. It doesn't make it unreal. That it's not real doesn't make it unreal, but that it's real doesn't make it real either. I mean, what accusation are you going to make that you're going to stand by? Oh, yeah, this is real. Peter Brown, you know, I've referred to him before. He says, oh, yeah, this is real. What does that mean? That this is irrefutable? That it's not nothing? Okay. All right. Yeah, sure, irrefutable. Some fucking thing is going on. Something is felt. Some kind of dynamism apparently is expressing. We're not just, you know. But maybe we are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? While everyone was feeding the cows and the peacocks, Ramana Maharshi was like, I sure hope they feed the cows and the peacocks because I can't fucking move. So what was happening then? Was he real? I don't know. We'd have to roll back the clock and say, excuse me, Ramana, excuse me. Are you real now? He's as real as this is. You see, you never have any meaningful evidence to insist on what this is or what it's not or what's happening or what's not happening or what's true. Because anything you throw at it is just going to be a partial, right, metaphoric reference in language or thought or even in sensation that attempts to corral this ongoingly immersive and evaporative plasma as something. So the texture or the thrillingness of it or the joy or the startlement, the novelty of you right now, that's not recording anything, that's not laying down a track, that's not going a place to pick something up. It's just you. Wow. To feel yourself as so-called present without being belittled or belligerently attacked by content. That could be interesting.
It gives you access to everything available. How's that sound? I'm really thinking that makes you more emotionally and it gives you more power to be
Spontaneous.
to feel, to think, like you're 100%.
Here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I
Like
hear
if you're not split
You're
into
communicating.
what's right, what's wrong, what do I
you're
want,
not
what
hung
do
up
I
on
need,
some preconceived
who's
notion.
coming, when they coming, and all that other bullshit. You can you've got more available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a nice idea.
It's not gonna give you any today, Pat. You're not getting anywhere.
Flip of the bird.
I just flip everyone the bird. That's all I do. That's what I do for a living.
Bird flipper.
Drive around.
I'll drive to your house and flip you the bird. Oh, please, can you come tomorrow at 8 a.m.? Drive by.
Just drive around Oxville.
I'm gonna get a shirt.
Really. Fuck you too. Hey, good to see you. Hey. Birds up.
I love you. I love you.
This is about as unpolitically correct as you could get. wiping the slate clean on what everyone is conditioned and forced, cajoled, and seduced to believe is conformist reality. That's like, whoa. It's actually more dangerous than, sending loose change to your friends. The 9/11 movie,
Okay, look, now,
You don't know that one? Beth will tell you all
Most
about it.
people don't even see. It's like everyone's so narcissistically wrapped in a very small arena, like what Pat was saying. That sort of.
Yeah.
Where am I going? What's going? Like just so.
Yeah.
You don't even see the surreal. Like.
No.
Kind of just what consciousness is. Like it's just insane.
Yeah.
We're all murderers.
Oh,
We're all poison. That's what consciousness. I mean, that's an aspect of
yes.
what this does.
Yep.
But none of it means, none of those implications are accurate. Like what none of the words mean, it's all just.
Yes. We put up our fists so quickly as soon as this becomes something. Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Warring chips in the jungle.
Warring chips in a jungle. No, chimps. Yeah. It is so bizarre to watch yourself arise and without a big struggle or a big, sentimental or emotional outbreak, see through the myth of individuation. See through the alluring, presently appearing myth of individuation.
I am, and this is more about me, right? But like, oh wow. Since let's say I'm traveling later,
Okay.
I'm like having fun. So
Nice.
I'm like grabbing stuff back.
Grabbing stuff back means
Means I
Just for fun.
I do things without I just feel I have more freedom.
More playful.
So if everything is more fun, so I'm like, I'm going to do that because it's more fun now. That's the best I can do. Sorry. So I'm back into doing stuff,
cool.
but it's
Yeah.
because I'm having fun.
Wasn't that what
A lot of
Siddhartha
fun.
got trapped into? Remember?
Did he get trapped in there?
Well, I mean,
A fun house? Siddhartha got trapped in a fun house. Don't be like Siddhartha.
when he-
Kind of like Pee-wee?
he came out of the woods and after his years of being like just tripping out on meditation and
Oh,
stuff.
right.
And then he went into the town.
Yeah.
He kissed the breasts of the gal that he saw there, and he hung out there for years just playing,
They always leave
Being
these
a
parts
financial-
out.
Good move.
being the financial genius and having a great deal of time. And then he got like into it.
And he came out of that
Yeah.
at some other point? Well, it sounds like
then
the
he
last.
ran into Govinda,
Uh-huh.
who had eschewed all that.
Yes. Hmm.
And went straight through, and he's like, whoa. And then
Yeah.
he had kind of a enlightening experience, I guess, or whatever you would call it.
Well, that's like the Last Temptation of Christ movie. Christ came down off the cross where he was being, antagonized and abused.
Yeah.
And was given a life off the cross with a wife and children and goats and wine.
Yeah.
And he was fucking loving it. Just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, oh my God. And along comes his dear friend who
I'm trying to remember.
who was his dear friend?
Listen,
The guy that, I'm sorry, the one that gave him up.
Yeah.
What's that guy's
Oh,
name?
Judas.
Judas. Along came his
yes.
dear friend Judas. That's right. And walked into his beautiful home with the beautiful goats and the beautiful
That's
wives
right.
and the beautiful children and said,
You're a fraud.
said, you're a poser.
Yeah.
right? It's like what we do.
Yeah.
This is truly the last temptation of Christ experience, the Night Sky Sangha. He came and said, "You poser, you promised, you lied." And Jesus went, whoosh. He remembered the whole thing in an instant, and he was like, "Oh God, did I fuck up?" And as that realization occurred to him, like the Buddha got, Siddhartha
Yeah.
encountering Govinda, went back to the cross,
Yeah.
got back on the cross to finish it. That was nutty.
That was wild.
Yeah, I mean, the church didn't like it,
Oh, no.
but it was still, I thought it was still quite true to the, the triumphant spirit of the Christ consciousness. I thought it was just, an artistic, right,
Yeah.
piece of affection, not something that should have offended anybody.
Oh, well. That's-
Sorry about that.
Hey, this very existence of this group is offensive to just about it.
Church is like so. I just made up a fucking story. It's so bad. And there's seems to be so many people that really believe that are like, it's just so weird to be like, dude.
In a sense,
They crafted a magical story.
we retreat from, repress, and suppress, dare I say unconsciously, the intimacy of present realization, the intimacy of present revelation, which is truly ahimsa and non-harming. Because, the nourishment of the sacred divine, without having to go through the Pope's hat to get there, is, can really, can do something to the species, if there were a species, if there were one. Yeah.
It feels like this is without a vehicle, whereas in the world, we
Yeah.
generally find that there are these vehicles to deliver you.
Well, yeah, the delivery and the vehicle is the myth of an object that, having
Sure
occurred in the
is,
first
yeah.
place, has a place to go. Yeah. So in this case, the vehicle is what's present. The vehicle is presence itself, which also happens to be the means and the destination. Falling open, because all you find is open, 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 more daydreaming. And I think we get tired of daydreaming in the same old patterns that we typically daydream in, which continue to define
Yeah.
my crappy, myopic,
Sure.
small, and irrelevant life.
Sure.
For sure. So this is an opportunity, though a little steep, to, daydream differently for a little while. Put the imagination of your life on hold at the door. And, of course, your bad day.
Grab it. as I leave.
And, ascend or something like that. Or nothing. What starts to peek through as we get a break from the habit of the myth of individuation is unspeakable. Yet as palpable or real or evident as anything we've ever said is real. Some might say more so. So all we can do is hang out at the event horizon.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We can have a good time playing around the way that we do at the event horizon and lean into it, play around with it, dismantle, piss innocent people off, bring them to tears. Do whatever as we skirt the event horizon. And as we're doing that, hopefully, if this experiment, if this dreaming cooperative is doing what it, so-called promises to do, while we're skirting the edge of the event horizon, you get a few glimpses of what's on the other side of the event horizon. Hopefully you get a few glimpses of what's on the other side of the event horizon, and that we all, you could say, sheepishly agree is unspeakable. And yet, that's what this is. This is unspeakable, just as it is. This is the beyond, appearing to be, Goobers at Pebble. It's the new name, Goobers at Pebble Sangha.
Goobers at Pebble, yeah.
Spiritual goobers at Pebble. I don't think so. It's kind of like C-flip, C-flip, run, flip, run, right? See Jamie, right? Playing at the edge of the event horizon. Go, Jamie, go. Where did Jamie go?
He got sucked in.
We're dancing around with not a destination, not a place, not a time, not even an invocation or evocation. We're simply like, oh yeah, this shit really dreams a powerful magic wand of individuation. Somehow a sense of individuation is what? Sucked out of or inferred from this miracle field. And that sense of individuation is miraculously appearing, acausally appearing. You can't say why or how it comes. It has nothing to do with attraction and aversion. That's total bullshit.
Sure as fuck doesn't follow the 10 Commandments.
It doesn't follow the 10 Commandments. That's right.
Doesn't give a shit
It
about that.
doesn't mind praying at Mecca, but it doesn't need to.
Yeah. Doesn't mind ripping someone's head off.
It doesn't mind, decapitating someone in the name of,
Sodomy or
Woo. If there's still something left of you that cares that this do something on your behalf, you're way too thick. By dancing around the fire, you catch fire. You burn for a little while, then you go to ashes.
That happened to me last year.
That's right.
Started to burn.
That's right. That's right. Be careful. Beware the Halloween fire, the Halloween barbecue, right? You just caught fire.
Well, as the dissolution of the event horizon, at the same time, it's like this in and out of time type of deal,
Mm-hmm.
And going to the totally mundane, superficial, everyday stuff as existential panic ensues,
Mhm.
and then whoop, dropping that totally, and then noticing things like, this like you're saying exactly what I felt, in slightly different words. In other words, it's all the same thing. This is arbitrary, for me to think that it's, that idea is mine, or that,
Mm-hmm.
the thought process is any different. It's all the same.
Truly appearing arbitrarily.
Yeah. So for, me to
That should be
cobble it together.
That should be step one of the, 12-step thing. Right? Holy fuck, I'm appearing arbitrarily. Then you could, my life had become unmanageable. Duh. You're appearing arbitrarily. Of course, your life's unmanageable. Everybody's life is unmanageable. You just happen to drink.
unmanaged.
Yeah. The universe is unmanageable, dude.
It's really manageable. We got this down.
Yeah. Step one is the admission that, my life had become unmanageable. That, right, my addiction was running my show. But it would be good to have a pre-step. You are appearing arbitrarily. Not just you. Everyone and everything is appearing arbitrarily. And that can really suck, and it's not a bad idea to drink. It's not going to be all that useful for all that long.
The numbers that you want for
Yeah.
Meetings and stuff.
Well, yeah, that's right. You are appearing arbitrarily. Does it hurt? Sorry about that.
It's just over.
Don't worry, it's just temporary. That's right. The ocean will be rising 6 feet in pretty much no time. So.
By summer,
By summer. Really?
definitely by August.
By August,
Couple of years.
all coastal
No, I don't
cities
think
will be
that's
inundated with flooded with water.
They're just not telling us anything on the news.
Yeah, no, they don't want to start a panic. That's right.
Because if they turn on the news, we just start seeing giant black plumes going up into I'm freaking out.
Thank God there's so much to panic over.
Yeah, there's no shortage.
No shortage of things to panic over. It's brutal, man. I mean, I wish I could say, hey, you'll travel lighter. I don't know about that. I wish it were true, but I don't really know. You know, I wish I could say, oh yeah, noticing will lead you to this, then this, then this, and then you'll be happier because you won't care about shit, or I don't know. You'll stare off into space. You'll pet a cow. I don't
When
know.
Hederman talks about traveling lighter, I have to consider where he came from. Where he came from was traveling pretty heavy, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's for sure that's a nice destination for someone that has lived with addiction for decades and decades. Yeah. Yes. You know, some of these famous Indian or, Buddhist or whatever yogis and yoginis, aspirants and discoverers, I mean, they became useless. They had to be taken care of.
That's my goal.
They really became
Another few years, I'll
useless
be, may not because of this.
and had to be taken care of. That was, their place of actualization. They were so retreated from not only the myth of individuation, but the myth of inhabiting a world that they lived incredibly simply and more undefended than we even dare imagine. Completely undefended. Nothing left. But the body was still alive, and so they did their best to bathe it and wrap it and go for a walk once in a while and, eat a little bit and talk to the local police chief.
Hoopless.
Oh, yes, right. Forgot about that. Sorry. Stand corrected.
Peter Brown can still drive to the movie theater.
Well, I think he still poops.
Does he?
I don't know.
I mean, if you look at an incredibly beautiful, culture of religion and aspiration and yoga of all kinds and men and women of all types and sizes and shapes that have come to, call it a depthful or delusional free understanding, and how they have lived and or influenced or, lived with others or written or not written, or the antics and the, gaffes and the practical jokes they've played is an incredibly rich piece of, human anthropology, human sociology. And yet you could say very few people are aware of how rich an incredible culture of story is available to appreciate the curious, peculiar lives of these kinds of folks. You know, we might believe in Buddha or Jesus or Abraham or whatever, and so we're kind of myopic in terms of, you know, what we've been taught as, right?
Yeah, they hit the media circuit, those ones, you know, but there's
Yeah.
plenty, we have to presume, that
Oh my goodness.
didn't hit the media circuit.
Yeah.
Things are fucking hoaxes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they feed you whatever.
Right.
You know. It's like,
And
it's the same as like,
And your life, were you living one, could be just as playful and just as strange and just as full of practical jokes and weird experiences that, you know, transcend culpability. Aimless novelty is its own thrill. Aimless novelty is not nothing. The argument is that it can be discovered, though it appears to be in severe contrast to one's normal way of living, thinking and feeling and acting. And for some strange reason, a couple of people from here to there, now and then, are invited to find out if it's so, to pass through the wall, the membrane of practical insanity, to find out if aimless novelty is so.
So novelty just for its own sake. It's not novelty in the service of something. I mean, I'm trying to get my
Yes.
hands around
Yes,
aimless novelty.
this presence is aimless novelty. For all the places that you had intended to go, and all the things that you had hoped to gain from arriving there, where are they now?
In disarray, that's where they are.
Okay, fair enough.
strewn about on the floor.
Strewn about on the floor of your crappy existence. Yeah, yeah, in absolute disarray. Yeah, so you can't find them. You can't rely upon them. You can't say that you've accomplished or not accomplished anything. There's this aimless novelty. If aimless novelty is not polluted by stories about self and space, time, and implication, which includes the myth of destination, all that whole myth is one giant package. It's one thing, but it's right. It's really one myth, but it packs a punch. It's 170 proof. Your present experience is always and only aimless novelty. Euphoric, disembodied, implication-free, aimless novelty. Holy shit. Wow. I for sure am going to get some Lucky Charms. I used to think those were no good for me, but I don't think I'm going to start eating those again.
Consider that.
This is what you're up against as the nagging myth of individuation starts to leave you alone. You're not about anything. You've never been about anything. You're never going to get anywhere. Nothing that comes your way is going to be savored for more than a nanosecond. You're going to die with your to-do list unchecked, in disarray. We're going to throw that to-do list in the coffin as we roll you into the flames.
So there is the danger
Yes, there is
of
danger.
believing that,
Uh-huh.
and making that
Yeah,
like a philosophy.
that's right.
So then I wonder if knowing that would feel different, or we could say being that, and then it's all it's all fucked up again.
It's totally fucked up.
So I suppose you would, let's say, you would move in that place without like trying to define it and nail it down.
Well, the funny thing is, whatever you may be suggesting, and it's certainly articulated, in a lovely way, if not accurate, as if there were an accurate, you can't do any of that. Because it's just fucking this. And it's fucking you. According to its whims and wishes, and not that it has any. I mean, this is operating, you could say, on harmonics that completely go beyond the electromagnetic spectrum, space and time and Big Bang and universes, galaxies and clusters of galaxies and gravitational waves, and the entirety of what we call known or familiar corporeality, familiar phenomena. Maybe this is occurring at bandwidths of iterations of harmonics that have no substance, that we are really just being dreamed by, one tiny little piece of carbon somewhere, nowhere, that was infatuated with AI and became that. And we're its playthings. Yeah, we're its playthings. We are it, pretending to be other than it, because it didn't know what to do with itself as an aimless, selfless singularity of nothing. So it went, I want some friends. Yeah, so it imagines itself to be other than itself. Tag, you're it.
Because when you have, wow.
I feel the same way. Sometimes I got a cramp right in here.
When you're at a place that seems to have more, it seems to be more open,
Yes.
okay, and less defined, then I want to know how I got there, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, that's one of the.
What did I do? What
Yeah.
did I believe? What didn't I believe?
Yeah. That's one of its apparent symptoms or playthings. Yeah, and even imagining that is only being imagined presently, because that never actually happened.
You're right.
I know, it's just really
But
weird. Bless you.
But I'm like, oh God. Okay.
See, when you start
So-
talking this way, people have sneezing fits.
Yeah.
Isn't it strange that anything that you think happened prior to now is just
Yeah.
imagined,
Okay.
which is a little bit revealing because maybe it didn't.
Mhm.
And then what's happening now, we insist that this is happening now. And so it should be and can be and will be remembered accurately in the so-called future, because this sure as fuck happened. But by looking at memory, you can say, whoa, anything and everything I can remember, I can't find. Which can tell you something about present. about the so-called present, the so-called irrefutability, the so-called actuality of phenomenal experience. We think it's happening. It might not be.
That's why it's unspeakable.
That's why it's
Motherfucker.
unspeakable, motherfucker, yeah. Because it might not be happening. It might not be memorable or recordable or reportable or even occupiable. It's not occupiable. It's not that difficult to see that this isn't occupiable. Because go ahead, find everything that happened to you prior to this moment, even 2 seconds ago. Nowhere to be seen. You can conjure it, but that's not actual. That's remembered. That's virtual. And so it kind of implies, and it gets a little strange, that what we insist upon or think or love or not love, that this is happening now, isn't. If no moment has any duration, if nothing that's arising can actually be found to be causal, or the repercussion or the outcome or the child of anything that came before, if you are truly dreaming and improvisationally appearing as just aimless presence,
You leave no tracks.
no. And yet on a dime, you can remember 1,000,000 tracks that you can recount biographically, autobiographically, if there were such a thing, in every imaginable medium available to humans with charcoals and an opposable thumb.
But that's differentiation. You know?
Well, okay.
Differentiation.
But this doesn't know what else to do. What else can it do? As itself, for there to be phenomenal experience, it has to differentiate. This couldn't be felt or known or experienced if it wasn't capable of appearing to be other than itself and differentiating through all of the harmonics that it appears to differentiate. I mean, we call it 5 senses, but if you look into any one of those senses, the bandwidth is unbelievable. We call it hearing, but hearing is the shit. We call it seeing, but you got to be kidding me. Photon flood? Right? I mean, smelling is off the charts. Ask any dog you've met. Hey, how's smelling? Wow!
You won't believe it.
Yeah, you won't believe it, Biscuit.
You don't know what you're missing.
You don't know what you're missing. That's
I
right.
don't believe this shit.
Yeah, you won't believe this shit. This shit smells like,
This is the shit.
this is the shit smelling this shit.
Especially when they're eating it. They're like, you should try it.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that, Fido.
Yeah.
So you see, you're in a miracle field of, you could say, presently appearing, that doesn't mean anything, unbounded wave fields, harmonic fields of infinity in every so-called direction that you look or feel or sense. Even your imagination is an infinity field. Even your memory is an infinity field. Even the myth that of individuation is an infinity field. Even that you insist that this is happening and therefore can be remembered accurately moments from now is an infinity field. If you play just outside the event horizon, the chances are you're going to stumble in. Spirit guides.
This is virtual to the spirit.
You laugh, but our tires are flat.
Good point.
What was that?
You laugh, but I'm tired. Of
All of them out there.
Sorry, he had one last time.
It's pretty funny. Any questions? Thanks for coming. Sorry about the, rich field of emotion and disappointment that I'm probably responsible for.
Some people need to be shook up.
Oh yeah, I can feel it, I guess.
Well, yeah, right. I mean,
Hey, thanks for joining us at home. I hope that was fun for you too.
Thanks for that one.